It's cool. It is cool. They say COOL. What's that spell? Now, usually that spell to me, fishnets and black pantyhose, but it's cool. And speaking of being cool, ladies and gentlemen, I have the coolest guy in the building with me right now. Let me tell you who this is. This young man set the world on fire in the early 80s. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about the one and only Morris E. Day is in the building. What's up, Morris Day?
Yeah.
Morris Day is here with us, man. Thank you so much for taking the time to catch up with us, man. This is great. Having you here. You got a lot of things going on. And just a few minutes ago, we played Cool. Speaking of cool, you know, it seems like you're about to be cooler than Santa Claus. I'm expecting.
Got to be cooler than Santa Claus.
Yeah. Now, here's what I want to ask you, though, on that, man. When you say cooler than Santa Claus, is that just for grown and sexy women only?
Well, you know, I'm including a little bit of everybody, you know, even the parents out there now, because, you know, Santa Claus gets all the credit.
Right.
And we have to reach into the pocket. So I'm just giving everybody a little credit back, you know,
Okay.
but I'm letting everybody know I'm cooler than Santa Claus.
Oh, there you go. and if anybody could do it, definitely you could do it, man. For those who are familiar with Morris Day, you're known from the band The Time, the great funky R&B rock band The Time. And a lot of people remember you from the iconic movie Purple Rain. And real quick, I just want to ask you about the movie Purple Rain. When we see the movie Purple Rain, when you go out and you do your shows, you play with a lot of great bands, whether it's Cameo, Funkadelic, whatever. Some of the bands you play with, Zapp and all of them, you shared the bill with. Did Morris Day ever walk up to any one of them guys and say, "Why don't y'all stay around, see how it's done"?
You know, I think I might have, you know, said that mildly on my way to the stage once or twice.
Because when we watch the movie Purple Rain, man, it's like you actually sell us you. And speaking of that, man, how much creativity did you have in molding that character? Because you're actually playing yourself. But for those who don't have the book on time, get the book. We're not going to talk too much about the book because they need to read it. And because it's a lot, it's good stuff in the book. But
we're not going to talk too much about it, but just in case y'all ain't got it yet.
There you go. No. We definitely going to talk about it. We're going to let people know the book exists. I mean, we don't want to tell them what's in the book. We want them to read it. You know, but
tidbits.
Exactly. But from what I understand, even reading in the book and just you speaking a lot, that character of is that more you, or was that more of your good friend and musician Prince that kind of embedded that in you? Because we get that that's really you.
Well, you know, what I always like to say is back in the day, Morris Day was on 24/7. You got that guy from sun up to sundown and back around. But now I've learned how to hit the off switch. But in answer to your question, what we did was they presented me with the script. I took my parts that they had written for me, and they said, take the script and write it how you would say it. So I went through the whole script and kind of customized it for myself.
Right. And this is what we get, man. We love, I mean, let's not sugarcoat it. Everybody definitely, to this day, still love your great friend Prince. But that movie, you sold the world. Everyone was just like, wanted to be cool again. Somebody from your side of the town said, you know what? It's time for us to be cool again. And speaking of that, you guys also were one of the cats in the forefront that brought back that whole musicianship competitiveness in the 80s too during that time. Let's speak about that. The band The Time, actually, that band actually didn't exist yet when you did the first album. When the first album was put together, that literally was just you and your friend Prince who did that album together. There was no Time. So how did you know that pulling in Jelly Bean and Jesse and Terry and Monty and all those cats, that this is going to be that super band, and also scare the hell out of your friend Prince?
Well, you know, we didn't have a crystal ball, but, you know, I just pulled together some of the best musicians that I knew, and most of them were in the band Flight Time, which was Terry Lewis and Jimmy Jam's band.
Right.
And, I love those guys. They were great, and we competed around town for the same gigs, and you know, when I got the opportunity to put the band together, I said, you know, look no further. So, you know, I just really lucked up on some really talented people.
Wow. And you know, you guys coming together, well, of course, later on was called The Original Seven, but read the book on that one because, you know.
It's in the book.
That's going to be the tag for the rest of the show, y'all. The book On Time is out. It's in the book, so get it. But just watching you guys from the beginning, man, and just playing it. And you, again, like I said before, is that you guys were at the forefront, like, we need to bring musicianship back. And let me ask you that question now on that. We lost a lot of great bands. You don't see bands no more today. How do you think the music industry, or do you see the music industry today still going forward, because everything is so technical? You guys were like, hey, this is how we do it. We trained ourselves to do this. Where do you see it going down today?
You know, man, that's a really good question. I really don't see going back to musicianship the way I would like for it to, because it just seems like most of the producers and writers these days are more tech savvy.
Right, exactly.
And they're computer people. And I guess it's just so easy now to turn on your Pro Tools or whatever you use and put a song together, and you don't have to go jam with nobody or come up with nothing. You know, so it's too easy. Yeah. I would love to see musicianship come back, but I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a tough one.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you're still out there, because we know, you know, before all the madness happened with the pandemic, you were out there on the road really filling the seats and filling people up with the good music and the dancing and stuff. But, you know, let's get back into your acting real quick before we talk about Cooler than Santa Claus. You put yourself, after Purple Rain, you was moving around. Like, we saw you were part of a new show with Shirley Ralph called A New Attitude. You also did some appearance on other television shows like Eve or 227. Why didn't Morris continue to say, you know what, I can put together a Morris Day sitcom TV show? Because you were at that point where it's like, I've arrived, you know?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, I think to honestly answer that question, I think I wasn't enjoying acting as much as I do music.
Wow.
That's my thing. You know, I kind of felt like when I was acting, I had a job. Mm. And when I do my music, I feel like, you know, it's my thing.
Right.
So I just never really latched on to it like that, I guess.
Wow, that's interesting, because we outside, you know, not looking in, but just being from the outside, that we just thought, like, you know, Morris is on a roll. It's gonna latch, because we saw you move around even in movies, doing spots in movies. But it's just real interesting that you're more into just being a musician than acting. So are you saying, is acting more harder? Because music is definitely easier for you.
Yeah, well, it's harder, but it feels somehow. I mean, I enjoy it. Don't get me wrong, every now and then, but when I'm on a set, I feel like I'm at a job. You know, I don't know how to say it, man. It's just weird, you know.
Yeah, Morris like, I need to work freely. If we're gonna do this, it's got to be freely.
I got to be the boss. And I can't have nobody telling me be ready in 10 minutes and, you know, do this and do that. You know,
right.
So.
Right.
Thing, you know?
Well, I tell you, man, we are glad that you stuck with the music. And do you think you guys, when I say you guys, the Time, should be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Don't you think, Morris?
Without a doubt.
You know what I'm saying? Because you guys you've put in the work. 3 great successful albums, but you put in the work. As musicians, musicianship, your music, and all across the board. And we see all these other bands get inducted. But I just wanted to know from you, your answer on, and why hasn't anyone has put that out there? Because that should be put out there.
Yeah, no, you know, I like what you wrote, man. I think we definitely deserve a shot. You know, I think, you know, we've been in a blockbuster film. And like you said, you know, we've done some substantial things in the business. So I think it would be a great thing. I would like to see that happen while I'm still around.
Yeah, exactly, man. Now, do you still have a great relationship with all the members of the band, the Jeromes and Terry Lewis and Jimmy Jam? I know Monty still played with you from time to time, and Jelly Bean.
Yeah.
Those cats. How is the relationship with you guys? And will we see down the pipeline the Original 7, Time, reuniting for new music at all?
Yeah, you know, we're real cool, man. It's like brothers. We get together, you know, and we talk it up, chop it up like we just talked yesterday, you know. And it's always going to be like that. We get together on special occasions. We've done some Grammy performances and stuff like that.
Right.
And you know, so we still get down like that. But you know, we don't really have anything planned in the near future at this point. However, Morris Day does have an EP coming out. Now, back in the day, they used to call them LPs, but now you got to have 100 songs on there for it to get LP. So, you know, you put 8 songs on it, and they call it an EP. It's going to be called Morris Day's #1 fan.
Oh, there it is now. Now that's what we expected, man. We want to see that work from you, man. And again, as we go back, we watch these films. It is iconic, and even to this day, you still look good, young man. You hanging in there.
Oh, man, appreciate you.
So what is it, Morris? Is it the fishnets and the black pantyhose that's keeping you possessed like this? Man,
maybe it is.
You know, I gotta be honest with you. The reason why I keep mentioning that song is, Morris, I'm just gonna be honest with you. Please do not be upset with me, okay? Now, when that song came out, I was 19, maybe 20 years old at that time. And Morris, you sent me into a frenzy because every girl I wanted to date had to wear fishnets and black pantyhose. So I kind of blame you for my reasons on why I target women.
I'll take the blame. I was kind of on that same page myself, so I'll take the blame.
There you go. I don't feel alone, man. I don't feel alone.
Okay, here, take it, put these on, and come back and see.
Why did you decide to write this book, y'all? Because it's a deep book, man. Pretty much your journey.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of things that I've been doing lately have come from suggestions. You know, because sometimes I just get caught up in my own thing, and I don't really pay attention to some of the things that I could be doing. Right. So my manager suggested to me, why don't you write a book?
Okay.
I said, that's not a bad idea. I was a little afraid because I'm not a workaholic.
Right.
And the thing that popped in my head first was the time commitment.
Right.
It's going to be a lot of time. I got to sit down and go over my memoirs, and put all this together. It's going to take a lot of time. Of course, I had a co-writer, David Ritz. Okay. But it was a huge time commitment, but it ended up being fun. It was challenging because it took me down some avenues that I didn't want to travel down again.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Saying. But even the Christmas song, that was a suggestion. I didn't just come up. My manager said, "Well, why don't you do a Christmas song?" And first, I batted that down. I was like, I don't want to do a Christmas song.
Right.
I thought about it. Next day, I said, maybe I will.
Is there anywhere people can now reach out to you, contact you, social medias, any information you give people?
Yeah, they can hit us up on Instagram, hit us up on Facebook. I'm there.
Man, Morris Day's in the building with us, y'all. We appreciate it. One last question before I let you go, man.
For sure.
One of your greatest memories that you can tell us that's not even in your book. Maybe you held it for yourself and, maybe you talk about it from time to time. But one of your greatest memories that you remember working with your best friend, Prince.
Man, there's so many from the early days. I think, some of the stuff I think of the most, and I don't have an exact moment, but man, we used to jam.
Right.
And that's how we came up with so many songs. But I can just remember, me being on the drums and him on the bass, and that's the way we started every song.
Right.
And man, we would have some fierce jam sessions, and we would tape them, and then we would do crazy shit, and we come back and laugh at it. But I think the musical moments really stand out the most for me when back when we jam, man. It was all about the music.
Right. Now, real quick, was it true? Because only you could tell us. Is it true that he was afraid of y'all as a band? Like y'all spooked him that bad?
Well, we turned into the Frankenstein monster on him. You know what I mean? And he didn't realize what he created.
Oh.
And he really instilled in us a work ethic. Right. And man, we rehearsed, and we got so tight. And the band, we were all so good that it just kind of got ridiculous, man. And
right.
We just, some cities, we would kick his ass, and some cities he would kick our ass. But it got to the point where he didn't want us on the show in major markets,
right.
LA, New York, you know, Chicago. So, you know, it was double-edged, man. But yeah, we got to be pretty fierce with it.
Yeah, I guess we learned it. I mean, you know, like I said, early days, it was you and him on the album, but you sure put together a hell of a band, great musicians, man, to match what you guys was doing. So now we understand when we watch the movie Purple Rain billions of times, because it come on television to this day. And when you say that line and you tell them, watch y'all stay around, see how it's done. It's like, that's right. Stay around and see how it's done.
Appreciate you, Brother Bobby.
No doubt, man. The one and only Morris E. Day, ladies and gentlemen. Don't move nowhere. We got some more music coming up.